If you own an investment property or a second home along the Grand Strand and you are considering, or your plan is to go ahead and just leave that to the kids, then this video is for you. One of the things that happens when I have conversations with owners all the time is they say, you know what, I'm going to keep this property. In fact, it's just going to get passed on to my heirs. And I've been selling in this market for nearly 20 years full time. And I can tell you, in a lot of scenarios, you may consider some other options if you haven't already had the conversation that solution makes the most sense for you. I want to share with you 3 things to consider when your plan right now may be to take your investment property or properties and just pass them on to the kids, because it's a very normal first response is people say, you know, I worked hard, I was able to buy these investments, and it's a noble thing to want to pass those down. But I hear the other side of it a lot of times on the people that they're passed down to. And so I want to just make sure that you have as much information as possible, because sometimes it's not quite that simple. So there's 3 things to consider if that's your plan. One is, do your heirs, or whoever it's going to be going to, do they actually want to keep that property? Or is it possible that the equity or the income that it produces now that would be generated from the sale, if they decided to sell that after it was passed on to them, would that equity or income serve them better now as opposed to having to deal with it later? Because a lot of times when people get things passed on down to them, they don't necessarily need that extra income at that time. They might have needed it a little bit sooner. Now, if you're generating income from it, or you're accessing the equity to have access to cash for other investments, that's not a problem. But a lot of times the plan is, well, I'm just going to give it to them at the time that I'm not around anymore. And frankly, they may not need it then. They may need that income sooner. Okay, so that's one option. Second option is, are they accounting for the tax implications? You know, our tax laws are always changing, and the basis that you're able to use for transferring properties could change. It's changed in the past. It could change again. And so if something's set up to be passed on, and then at the time that happens, the tax implications are more impactful than they are now, even if the property appreciated some, it may not be the equivalent. It might have actually made more sense to sell and give them a portion, or set up in a trust so that they have that cash available to them over a period of time, if all of a sudden the tax implications have changed and now they're not prepared for it. The other thing to consider is, do they want it from a management standpoint, from the operational standpoint? So many times we, as investment property owners, we have kind of gone through the hard knocks. You know, we bought properties that worked, we bought properties that didn't. We figured out things along the way, and we've kind of gotten in our groove. And I can think back before I had investment properties, if someone just would have handed me one, how bad I would have probably screwed it up in the beginning. And I think that's a consideration that we have to think about when we're looking at passing things on, because you've got something that you've kind of got dialed in, and now you're passing it on. They may not even want that extra part-time job of learning about what the investment is, learning how to deal with the management company, or learning how to deal with tenants and leases and all of those different things. So it could be the absolute best thing that you can do for your heirs, or there could be other options. And these questions should help you get a little bit more clarity, because when you have clarity on kind of what your plan is and your options that are out there, then you can make the best decisions. So if I can help you with any additional information on the market or your property specifically, feel free to reach out to me. And I look forward to continuing to be your real estate resource. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe, and reach out to me. Send me a quick message on any of the social platforms. Let me know what topics you want to know about along the Grand Strand or other coastal areas of South Carolina real estate markets.